I think it's important to look like at the aspects that we need to take into consideration when we are building solutions or like updating solutions. And when I started working at Kvi, it's roughly 3 years ago, so we were in a massive growth phase. So we basically proven ourselves as like as a startup that works, the solution works. So we focus on video consultations. And then at that time, we needed to be fast. So we wanted to grow fast. We wanted to make sure that we have a good market share. We can attract new employees. We can make developers work faster, being more productive. So at that point, we focused a lot on productivity and on growth. So basically, the scale was more important than the actual cost. So that was the main aspect. Well, the main aspect always was the data integrity and data security. But then there was the other one, and there was the growth. And once we were a certain scale, then came another one, because then we became already big company that patients and clinicians relied on. So we needed to introduce the aspect of reliability. So even though like it was there, it was not the primary focus. And now we need to make sure like high availability is crucial. So then we introduced that one. But then like once all these pieces were working, then there was also a bit of a change in the market. And then it came, all right, now, well, cost is another factor that we need to integrate within the already existing ones. And that's something that like first we didn't really focus on. Well, a bit for sure, but it was more like growth is more important than the actual cost effectiveness. But at this point, we realized now to be a proven solution that's actually going to help healthcare at scale, that we need to be also cost efficient. So then it was a change of mindset in the entire company. And from the platform perspective, we saw, well, our main cost is in the cloud. Our main cloud solution is in AWS. So let's look into that one. And are there any like quick wins we can do? So initially we thought we might save maybe 20, 30%. So we never really thought we would get 70%. I think now we are going to get even further. We have some more initiatives now in the pipeline that might get us into like 80% saving. So at first it was more identify how we can do any quick wins where we can save money quickly. And from that moment on, it was just it was a mindset. And it's not even just the team I work with, the platform engineering team, but it was the entire company. So what helped a lot was just to show the data to everyone, in the company. We pay most for maybe databases. We pay most for right now this. Now we pay more for this service. And then the teams that work with those solutions would look, okay, so how do I contribute to the cost? Is there something I can do a bit better? So it's actually interesting that lots of the solutions that we implemented didn't even come from the team, didn't come from me, didn't come from the upper management. It was just an engineer who would say like, well, why don't we do this a little bit differently? Like, well, there is this option. Like one of the initiatives I sent you was just moving ECS Fargate load from x86 to the ARM-based architecture to be running on Graviton. It's something that came from an engineer. He said like, well, this should be fairly easy to do, and it's going to save us 20% on our compute cost.
Did you call it FinOps at the time, or was it just, let's be more efficient in the cloud and that's it? Because, FinOps movement, a lot of what you're describing, changing the culture, engineering is kind of taking their own initiative, and a lot of that is just FinOps, or FinOps defines itself. The foundation defines FinOps as kind of doing that. And like you mentioned, the first step is making engineers aware about what are we spending on what services, and even more specifically, what each engineer is costing, or what each team is costing, or each product.
Right. So, yeah, we didn't really call it FinOps, but there were jokes in the teams, and I would say like, well, we were DevOps, then we were DevSecOps, now we are DevSec FinOps. Like, what comes next? Like, it's gonna be like a massive paradigm.
It is incredible though. I mean, it's an example of sort of an organic growth of FinOps as a movement, but without necessarily calling it that within your company. Within FinOps, they talk about this Prius effect, right? Like if you've ever driven an electric car, and you put your foot down on the accelerator, you see the battery drop really quickly, your distance to empty comes down, and you suddenly start driving a bit more conservatively. And it's the same thing with cloud spend. When you start showing it to people, when they start realizing how much their latest feature or latest change or latest push costs, then they start reducing those costs. And there are some certain cynical people around that'll say engineers don't want to do this, but you know the proof's in the pudding there, where you say engineers want to be efficient. It's just that sometimes they don't have the time to focus on that, and the backlogs of new features are a little bit more important. I think any company would be pretty happy to reassign some engineers for a little while and get 75 or 80% savings on their cloud bills.
Yeah, we also said it's not only, right, like the engineers need to be given the time, they need to be given the trust, but also they need to be given the data. So it's something that's like, for me, like for the best AWS service was Cost Explorer. And like once we onboarded to do it, so some told me is like, well, just wait to see what we've got. It's even better. Well, it's good. So that's basically my morning routine. Just have a look at like what did we spend money on yesterday? How did it change to the day before? How is it changing over weeks? And yeah, since I want to be replaceable, so then I also like I did some automated alarms that we can look into together with the teams, because I believe like some of the things like it would just be deteriorating over time, right? So like if you look at it like now, the cost is in pretty good state. But if we don't look at it any further, it's just gonna keep on increasing, and we don't notice it. It's gonna increase 5% here, 5% here, and in 1 year it's gonna be like additional 30%. I think it's like it's important to catch it like right away. Like if someone is now implementing a new solution, like they want to know, well, this is maybe not cost optimal.